Send this one.
Good morning, sir.
I thought they said you should meet on mic.
My penny day, oh, with my penny day.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, okay, okay. Kí n mú tún láti bí báyìí. Mo ní mo máa, okay, open one jẹ́ kún. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir, we
Okay,
can hear you.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
I think, do we have economic students now?
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Some of us are here.
economic student yet.
Yes, sir. We are here.
Okay, economic student, you are here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oluwaseyi, I can see you raise up your hand. Okay. I think we can start now. Other people will join us.
All right, sir.
Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, I will try as much as possible to mute you so that I'll be able to have a peaceful discussion, peaceful lectures. Because if I don't mute you, there'll be noise here and there. Good morning, class. I welcome you to our first lectures on PO 122. My name is Karim Olale Bestoin. I will be one of the lecturers that will handle this particular course. The course is PO 122, Organization of Government, the Citizen and the State. For some of us that have probably passed through our secondary school and you do government as a subject, this is not going to be strange to you. We are going to start from the scratch. And then from there, you will now understand reason why government must exist within a particular society. For a state to be properly governed, every society of the world, people occupied a geographical territory. And Aristotle said that man by nature were political animals. This particular assertion was equally corroborated by Robinson Crusoe, who said man is not an island. Any given society where we have people occupied, in that society, there must be constant interactions among peoples. And when there are interactions, there must be frictions. And when there's a frictions, then a group of people must be responsible to ascertain and provide rules and regulations in that particular political territory. And leader cannot emerge without passing through what we refer to as electioneering campaigns. And before leader can be emerged, they must have what we refer to as a competitive elections context. When those leaders emerge, they were now saddled with the responsibility to provide rules and regulation in that given territory, and not only that, to equally maintain peace and tranquility within that particular political sector. And that is where the issue of government come in. Those whom you will have elected to provide leadership in a given society, those people were now shadowed with the responsibility of providing governance. And they are the government. If we ask, who are the government? I can empirically say that we are the government, because we surrender our sovereignty, and that sovereignty was given to the president. Not only to the president, our sovereignty that are vested to us were now surrendered to the state. We now ask the state to continue to provide leadership to us. And in the process of the state providing leadership, states must organize elections. Political parties must be formed. Leaders must emerge. And this leader now scheduled with the responsibility to provide leadership, to provide governance, to provide governance. So on this basis, governance is very, very important to provide rules and regulations. And these rules and regulations are spelled out in our constitutions. And that is a special document, contains customs and traditions, beliefs, value of the people in the society. That is what constituted constitutions. And in that constitution must be subjected to periodic changes in order to continue to provide leadership unto the people in the society. Because various crises come up on daily basis. And we must be able to probably make rules and regulations that will regulate individual behaviors. And when our behaviors are regulated, then society will maintain peace and tranquility. Therefore, the body that control and manage the activities of a society, the body that control and manage the activities of society are referred to as government. The existence of government in a state is highly essential for maintenance of laws and orders. Laws and orders are more important. A society where there's no law, there's no rules. Rules are the ones that regulate individual behaviors. You know, man by nature, we are not necessarily compelled, we are not necessarily obey law until constitutions now compel us to obey rules and regulations. And in that constitutions, it is equally spelled out that whosoever violated the constitution of the land, the person must be able to face the wrath of law. That person can be taken to court. That person will be arrested by the executive arm of government, and the person will be taken to the judicial arm of government to apportion blames and probably provide funds And when that person is fined, it's going to be in the memory of the individual within that society that these are the society that are being governed by law. Government as a discipline is more or less being studied to know how and why group of individuals rule or govern each other. Why is it that people just decide that, oh, I must be the leader, I must be the president of the society, I must be Attorney General of the Federation, I must probably go to the House of Representatives or National Assembly per se to make law for the society, because every individual were shadowed with the responsibility. Is either you are a ruler or you are a follower. So government must exist in our society to prevent insecurity, instability, oppression, anarchy, backwardness, uncertainty that can prone society to disorderliness. These are the function of government, and that's why government exists in every society of the world. It may be in a local society, and it may be in a national society. Therefore, government, we can see government as a body of personnel entrusted with the authority and power to regulate, coordinate, and manage the activities of a given society. And that is the reason why we always go to polling booths to cast our votes for the candidate of our choice to change our government every 4 years. Even if the government want to spend 2 terms in office, there's no issues. You must return to the electorate to get their validity. So, okay, we want this particular government to continue to exist. Obasanjo came into the office in 1999, and he spent 2 terms. After spending 4 years, he recontested and he ended his administration in 2007. Yar'Adua came in, and that is it. Like that. Buhari came in, he spent another 8 years, 1 term, 2 terms in office, was elected for 4 years, and he spent 2 terms in office, making 8 years, before we have this particular current administration in Nigeria. So the major functions of government is to regulate, coordinate the activities of people in the society, and manage every activities within that particular society in order to maintain peace and tranquility. So at the end of these particular lectures, we must be able to define government. We must equally be able to discuss the relationship between government and politics. Sometimes they are intertwined, but sometimes they're equally different. When we get there, you will understand what I'm talking about. We must be able to equally identify roles of government as an institution of state, because government as an institution of state are being divided into 3 parts. We can identify government as an institution of state. We can identify government as an art and processes of governance. Then government as an academic field of studies. These are the 3 areas we are going to look at. The reason why government exists in our society. And the existence of governance is for different purposes in our own society. It may be in the modern day society. It may be in our own local society. Be it advanced nation, Africans, third world nations, or whatever. Government perform the same functions. But ability to perform those functions varies from one society to the others. Then we should equally be able to explain the relationship between citizens and the government. Citizens and the government. What is our job, our roles, and function as a citizen? And in your return, what is the responsibility of the government towards us? These are the things that are going to be part and parcel of today's discussion. Now, let's go into the subject matter now. We study government to enable us to know how and why a group of individuals rule or govern each other. Why do we need government? Everybody cannot just be elected and be a leader of a society. They feel that our leaders of society are the ones that will continue to rule in that particular society. And there are durations to governance. In a society that practices presidential system of government, the duration to the governance is 4 years, renewable for another 4 years, making 8 years. But if it's parliamentary system of government, the one we equally refer to as a cabinet system of government, the durations of governance is 5 years. In some other society, is 6 years. It depends on the constitutions of that particular country. Therefore, government as a body of institution in a state that sees the welfare, peace, and orderliness of society, which means in that particular society, the major functions of government is to look at to achieve peace in a society, provide rules and regulation, and make society to be more peaceful and provide leadership. And when society is peaceful, rules and regulation will continue to exist. Government as a body of government is the body of personnel or institution entrusted with authorities and power to regulate, coordinate, and manage the activities of a given society. That is the job of government in a given state. You must, a body of personnel that came in through elections with other officials that are appointed that form a major institutions. We now entrusted them with the power and authority to regulate our behavior, coordinate all our activities, and manage the activities of a given society. That is called government. Government as an institution of state. Government as an institution of state. Government as an institution of state are there within the state to ensure the supremacy of the state over all activities, to ensure the supremacy of the state. And bear it in mind that the state is permanent, while government is temporary. State will continue to exist, while government of a state are subjected to periodic changes, depending on the form or system of government practice within that particular society. So we can say, in essence, that government as an institution of the state is an agency or machinery through which the will of the state is formulated, expressed, and achieved. Policy need to be formulated. And that is the major functions of the executive arm of government. Law need to be made. It is the major functions of the legislative arms of government. And when there is a conflict between the various institutions of government and individuals, then the job of interpretation of law, adjudication of law can now come in. And that is the major functions of judiciary. They can equally repeal. They can declare activities of government as null and void or travails, illegal. Recent pronouncement of the Supreme Court on Rivers State local government elections is a clear testament of this particular discussion we are having now, where Supreme Court declared the election conducted, local government election conducted in Rivers State as null and void. Not only that, Supreme Court emphasized that government does not exist in Rivers State because one arms of government cannot continue to function without the active participations of other arms of government. Because law spelled it out that 3 arms of government must exist within the state. And these 3 arms of government are legislatures, executive, and judiciary. The executive were functioning, judiciary were functioning, but legislative arm of government were not functioning. And that is the purpose of declaring activities of Governor Similari Fubara of Rivers State as ultra-vires, null and void. So the machineries, those agencies I'm talking about is civil service, which perform major functions and enable state activities to functions. Then under the same executive arm of government, we have police force that equally perform their own necessary duties, and judiciary now finalize on those who go beyond power being allotted to them to face the wrath of law. That is machineries. That is the agencies. And the will of the state must be ascertained. And the will of the state that's supposed to be formulated, expressed, and must be equally attained. Government is an agent of the state. States allow government to function. And government equally provide leadership for the state to achieve peace and harmony. Government is a set of political institutions whose function is to regulate affairs of the people in the state. When government are unable to perform this particular function, the activities of the government within the state can now be declared as null and void. But government must continue to function. And it's equally the responsibilities of the government to settle disputes. I said, wherever there is a constant interactions of people, frictions must occur. Disputes, crises must occur within the state. And this particular dispute, it is now the function of the government of the state to settle disputes and making good decisions that are supposed to be legally binding on the people of that particular state. Government usually achieve its objective through the process of negotiation and reconciliation. Everything cannot just be fighting. You must negotiate. You must do plea bargaining. You must do reconciliation in order to maintain peace and tranquility within the given state. Let's quickly look at the basic function of government in the state. The major function of government in the state is to promote happiness of the citizens. Promotions of the happiness of the citizen. When citizens were happy, they will perform their responsibility towards government. And the only way citizens can be happy is for government equally to perform their own responsibilities towards their citizens by providing good governance, good leadership, so that the citizens will now reciprocate these particular good gestures from the government and perform their own responsibility, and the state will continue to witness what we refer to as peace. Government equally promotes economic development of the country. And how do they do that? They promote economic development by establishing industries, so that when this industry produce goods and services, the needs of their citizens in the country, while the excess of it can now be exported to other countries of the world. A country cannot be independent solely. A country has what we refer to, what David Ricardo called comparative advantage. That means they must be able to produce goods in excess, and those ones they cannot produce, they will import it from another country. And that's the purpose of importation and likewise exportations. If government establish industry or organize private enterprises to establish industries, who are the people that will build and create fortunes for the industry to perform? It is an individual. Individual will be employed. And when they were employed, then they will perform their job and they create job opportunity for the citizen in the state. The citizen will be happy, government will be happy. A society that is happy is an organized society. And that society will continue to function. And probably government of that particular society will be able to receive a feedback in the essence of doing good thing, performing good job, providing good leadership to the citizens of that particular country. It is equally the responsibility of government to make, enforce, and interpret law. And we say that the making of law is the job of the legislatures. Enforcement of law, implementation of law, execution of law is the responsibilities of the executive, while interpretations and adjudications of law, it is sole responsibility of the judiciary. It is expedient of those in government to foster friendly relations with other countries. That is what we refer to as intergovernmental relations, which is allowed among the states. I'm not talking about the component states. I'm talking about the state as an institution. So a state will continue to have good relationship with other states. And when they were having good relationship with other states, they are now creating intergovernmental relations where they establish embassies, foreign missions, and they exchange products, they exchange personnel, and all sorts. These are the things, these are what is required among governments of a particular state, collaborating with the government of another state. That is intergovernmental relations. Governments equally preserve fundamental human rights of the citizens. When we surrender our sovereignty to the government of the state, the sovereignty surrendered to the government was for them to be able to provide leadership on us. And in order to now provide a good leadership, government of the state must equally reciprocate. And the reciprocations of these acts was to provide fundamental human rights for the citizen. Fundamental human rights for the citizen. And when you are providing these fundamental human rights, you identified the rights that citizens must enjoy. These particular fundamental human rights are enshrined in our Constitution, 1999 Constitution as amended, and is equally enshrined in the Fundamental Human Rights Principle, Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 of the United Nations Organization. That was where the fundamental human rights of citizens emanated from. Right to life, freedom from slavery and forced labor, right to properties, right to education, right to publication, right to, different type of rights. And as they were giving us those rights, the state equally provide limitation to the rights we can enjoy in the state. So those particular rights equally come with limitation, that for the fact that we are giving you rights of the movement, then your right of movement can equally be curtailed, especially during the declaration of state of emergency. So when we go to the fundamental human rights, we will discuss more in that area. So this friendly relationship with other countries that creates a kind of advantage to the citizen of one country to live in another country. And that's why we have foreign missions. Those foreign missions try as much as possible to create an enabling environment for their citizens. And that is the purpose of foreign mission in a foreign country. Let's look at the government, definition of government as a process or heart of governing. Definition of government as a process or heart of governing. We are now looking at the government. Why government provide leadership? Heart of governing. So we can say in essence that government as a process or heart of governing may be defined as a body vested with the power and authority for maintaining security, peace, stability by making or enforcing conventional or fundamental laws in a given state or society. That means the job of any government that want to involve in art of governing is to make sure that you provide authority. And those particular authority will be used to maintain security, peace of the society, then stability, a society that will function without crisis. There are crises in some other African countries today. We saw crisis in Rwanda in 1992 that led to genocide. We saw crisis in Sudan that is still happening up to today. Crises are there. There were crises in Ukraine that made Russia to invade Ukraine. We saw so many crises among Belgrade, among Kosovo. There are crises. In every part of the world, there are crises. But for government to be able to maintain peace and curtail that particular crisis, in the society. That is what is making government to function, and that is what is making government to exist and probably involved in the heart of governance. Fundamental law. It is the job of government to make law for good people of the society. A society where there's no law, there's no rule. So law must exist. And when law exists, then it curtails ulabalo crisis in our given society. The reason why we have government in a particular given society is to protect people against external aggression. That is, our society needs to be protected against external aggression. What do I mean by external aggression? Maybe a kind of incursion from Republic of Benin, from Cameroon onto Nigeria. That is the external aggression. Issue of Boko Haram is equally a kind of external aggression. ISWAP is part of the crisis societies are witnessing. So terrorism is not allowed in a state that want to experience good leadership. Let's look at the government business. Government businesses includes lawmaking. The power to make law are vested to the legislatures. And that is why in Nigeria today, we're having what we call National Assembly. And this National Assembly are just being divided into two. We have upper house, which we refer to as House of Senate. Then we have a lower house that we call House of Representatives. The combinations of this particular house is what we refer to as National Assembly. In United States, we equally have upper house, which is House of Senate. Then we have lower house, which is the House of Representatives. The combinations of this particular house too are called Congress in United States. In Great Britain, we have the upper house, which we refer to as House of Lords. Then we have the lower house, which we refer to as House of Commons. The combinations of this particular house are referred to as Parliament. So the job, be it Congress, be it National Assembly, be it Parliament, be it Bundesliga, all of them, it's just a matter of nomenclatures. Their major functions is to perform, their major function is to make law. They can equally repeal law. Any law that is being made in the society, and they now consider that law for not being effective, it is equally the responsibilities of these particular lawmaker to repeal that particular law and make another law that are befitting the circumstances in which that society is experiencing. Then we have rule application. Rule application. What are those rules? That means rules and regulations being made by the legislature. That is, it is not the responsibilities of the executive who we enforce, implement, and execute law being made by the legislatures. It is the major functions of executive arms of government. They refer to as rule application. As rule application.
Hello?
Hello?
Ogami.
How are you doing? Bounty. Okay, you have lectures, have you?
Since I get my talk in Bokosino.
Oh, okay.
Then my generator is not coming on. And my laptop is Mano.
Okay, It's all right.
Joe, I don't know. I'll push it to tomorrow afternoon if it's possible because I don't know what to do.
It's possible. We will see how we can do it tomorrow. Okay. You are welcome.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry for these interruptions. Sorry for interruptions. We are trying to sort out other problems from other places because lectures are going on consecutively from different angles. So the rule application, those rules, those laws being made by the legislatures, it is the responsibility of the executive to apply it. Executive will apply those rules for the good people of the state so that people will understand what the law is saying in the society. And by understanding that, they must be able to have access to the constitutions of the country so that when they have access to the constitution of the country, then they'll be able to sort out that particular problems. It is when you don't have access to the rules that you can say the problem of society will continue to emerge. And executive, who are the people that constitute executive? I said they are the presidency. Under the presidency, there are a lot of officials working with the executive. And we can talk about the civil service. The civil service of the Federation, they are under executive. Not only that, the police force, armed forces, security apparatus of the state that maintains rules and regulation within the state, all of them are under rule application, executive's arms of government. Then we have rule adjudication. This is the major functions of the judiciary. Judiciary interprets law. They do not only interpret law, they equally adjudicate what law should be. Law are in existence. And when there are frictions between legislature and the executive, it is the responsibilities of the judiciary to interpret that particular law and settle the law. And that's why we made the examples of the recent judgment of the Supreme Court in Rivers State, because there are friction between the executive and the legislature. And the Supreme Court pronounced that one arm of government cannot function within a state. Two arms of government cannot function within a state. All the three arms of government must be able to function effectively. And when they function effectively, then there are governance within that state. So on the face of law, the Supreme Court of Nigeria said that there is no governance in Rivers State. I think Governor Similari Fubara is returning back and probably trying to bring everybody on board. And that is what they are doing. And that's why we say that the interpretation of law is just the sole responsibilities of judiciary. So judiciary can pronounce the activities of legislatures and executive as ultra vires, as null and void, as unconstitutional, as illegal. So these are the businesses of government in a state. Government as an academic field of studies. We have analyzed government as an institution of state. We have explained definition of government as an art and processes of processes and art of governance. And now we are going to the third one, which is definition of government as an academic field of studies. Why do we study government? Because we need to study agencies and political institutions of the state. If you're unable to study the agencies and political institutions of the state, you may not be able to know how legislature functions, how executive functions, how the job of political party within the state, the job of a pressure group, the job of pressure group within the state. These are the things that must occur. And this institution of the state, we must study it in order for us and for our knowledge to be broadened in the heart and processes of governance. Government continue to meet, government continue to exist, and when government exists, it shows that the agencies and political institutions of the state must be able to exist and for the dynamics of the state. State is permanent, but the governance of the state are not permanent. And that's why we say that government of the state, they are subjected to periodic changes. So we equally study international organization for us to be able to see the activities of intergovernmental relations, why government relate with each other. International organization, such as United Nations organization that was formed in 1948 after the expirations or collapse of League of Nations. After the collapse of League of Nations, then United Nations organizations was established in 1948 and 1945, and they have been functioning from that period up to today. They have been functioning from that period up to today. So it is now equally important for a state, a sovereign state of every state of the world or continent, anywhere in the world, to now have a membership of this particular international organization in order for the state to be able to coordinate the activity, for the organization to be able to coordinate the activities of the state, introduce law for the state that the state are supposed to follow. And that's, we gave an example of Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. This Universal Declaration of Human Rights is enshrined in all the constitutions of the country of the universe for them to be able to follow, for them to be able to respect the right of every individual in a state. If the government violates my right, I have a right to go to court and challenge the activities of government in that particular court. And on several occasions, the activities of government have been curtailed by the court. The court will tell them, you have not done this, you have violated the rights of a particular individual, and therefore government are liable to pay compensation to that particular individual. It is like that. Country against country. Country can take another country to court for violation or infringement of their rights. We have seen Nigeria against Cameroon on the issue of Bakassi Peninsula. And that particular case activities too. And nevertheless, we have public administration. Under public administration is this is your pure course of studies. We must be able to understand day-to-day activities of government, which are being performed by the executive arm of government, comprises of civil servants and likewise the arms, police force, and other agencies of government. They perform the same functions. They perform the same functions. They perform the same function. I'm trying to sign students in so that I can leave host, then they can continue whenever their teachers or lecturers is in the class. So we equally have international relations, intergovernmental activities. We have been talking about that. We'll probably discuss about how government of the state interact with each other within Nigeria. That's a component state interact within Nigeria. And we equally talk about how the state as a state interact with other states, how Nigerians is interacting with United States, with Russia, with Canada, and other states of the world. These are the things that we do, and there are a lot of benefits in international relations. That's why in our higher institutions, people study international relations as a course, and that's why you are studying public administration as a course too. Then we have political economy. Our economic aspect probably needed to be studied, and as we are studying it, we now understand reason why demand and supplies must exist, why a society must produce, why a country must produce in excess for the benefit of the people within their state, and where the rest of it will now be we can export it to other parts of the world. So, and likewise, we can equally, because a man cannot live in an island, we can equally import products from the other parts of the world for our own benefit. I think most of our importation used to come from US, likewise Russia and China. That is the places where we import lots of products. And likewise in other parts of the world, I think medicine and all sorts, these are the things. So political economy is an aspect in political science that people equally study, and people can go ahead and become a professor of political economy, a specialist in political economy, and all sorts. These are the different arms, and these are the reasons why we must study, why they were studying government in the higher institution. And from there, we were able to know reason why government must exist, and reason why government must rule, and reason why we must go into the polling booth to elect our representative through competitive electioneering campaign and election contests. These are the way and manner in which we govern ourselves. Also, we want to look at the government and politics. Why government and politics exist, why government and policy relate. And you see, politics is found where human beings are. Anywhere you see human being, there is a politics. In your home today, among parents, there are politics within their family. Father will like one of their children more than the other. Mother will equally like one of their children more than the other. These are the politics of the family. And likewise, politics within the state, politics among people. Wherever people exist, there must be politics. So on daily basis, we are playing politics. In our working place, we play politics. Within the family, we play politics. In all ramifications of human existence, we played politics. So it is unavoidable in any human association, organization, or society, any peer group we belong to, we play politics there. In a political party, we play politics. Association, we play politics. Our community association, the landlord association, residents association, we play politics. So politics is part and parcel of us, and we must be able to play it. Man cannot live in isolation. I've said what Aristotle said, that man by nature, that we are political animal. The reason why Aristotle saying that was that he said because politics is the essence of human, of social life, of an existence of every individual. We must be able to interact. We play politics in our working place. We play politics in our society. Everywhere we play politics. Life must be able, because we can't just live alone. Aristotle have emphasized more on that man by nature, we are political animal. So, including you, all of us are political animal. Everybody's a political animal because we play politics among ourselves. Aristotle now elaborated further that man engages in politics for these three principal reasons. That the reason why man engage in politics, I think we're rounding up now. Let me quickly round up. So the reason why man engage in politics is to define their position in society, as they struggle for scarce resources that is not enough, and as they try to convince others to accept their point of view. That is the purpose of politics. Allocation of resources. Who allocated the resources? By who and why? These are the purpose of politics. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are rounding up today's lectures. And okay. I think my coordinator have already told me that I can continue with you, that it's allowed for both. So politics is everybody, we play politics because we want to allocate resources. Everybody need power. We want power to reside in us so that we can dish out what power is all about. Politics is a universal phenomenon. Every individual all over the world, everybody wants to play politics. Everybody wants to engage in it. Everybody wants to dominate others. In the process of dominating others, we engage in politics. We engage in politics. And in the process of allocating resources within the state, we engage in politics. And that is why in some states today, some people are well-blessed, some people have money, some people don't have. We have most rich, we have lower people that are in the lower half of society, then we have the middle class. So the bigger one are called the bourgeois, comprador bourgeoisies. They are the ones that hold all the factors of production. They control land, they control labor, they have money, and they are the real entrepreneur. So these are the reasons why we struggled on daily basis. These are the reasons why some of you are going to school. These are the reasons why you want to attain higher degree, because you want to be comfortable and you want to dominate others. That is the purpose of politics. So in all organizations, politics is characterized by struggle for power and influence. Everybody wants to be rich. Donald Trump is a millionaire. He had money, he has all. But he believed that he's lacking something. He's lacking power to coordinate others. And that was the reason why he went into politics, and eventually he now emerged as the president of the United States. He contested in the first round, he won, he spent one term, and they voted him out. He has come back again, introducing different executive order to target his political opponent and likewise transgender. The one that sweet me most in all this executive order is the transgender's own, transgender own. Don't doubt God. Don't prove God wrong. A man is a man. A woman is a woman. Don't profess, when you continue to profess gay, continue to profess lesbianism. These are the things biblically is against the rule of God that is above every individual. So if you don't struggle for power, you are going to remain in one place. The power and influence. Not only that, conflict bargaining, that's what they use power to do. Reconciliations among people, that's what they use power to do. Resolutions after reconciliation have taken place. What is the resolution? And likewise, the consensus. These are the government and politics. These are the way we use power. And when you use power in a good way, you will definitely understand what power is all about. Government and police are interconnected. They were connected. You use the two words intertwined, interchangeably. Government are there, and government exists within the society. And before government can exist within the society, even for the fact that the government exists within the society, before the government can exist within the society, they must have probably played politics. And for instance, the association of men in a church, a political party, or an international organization is political as a result. Each needs a form of government in order to maintain or restore order, peace, justice among the people. That is the purpose of politics, and that is the purpose of government. Without government, there could be breakdown of law and order, injustice and chaos, pandemonium among the people of the society. But with the politics and government, all this will be a things of the past. Government and the state. Government and the state. Government and the state. The government and the state are intertwined. State is permanent. Government is subjected to periodic changes. Government change, state continue to exist. We change our government every 4 years according to the form of government that we practice, while some change their government every 5 years, depending on the form of government they operate. And we are saying that as governments are going, states continue to maintain their dominance. States will continue to function while states engineer people to elect their representative to provide leadership. State is permanent, and state will continue to be in existence. Even when government are not functioning, state, for some certain sections of society or group of people must be able to provide governance, and when they provide governance, the state will continue to exist. Then the state itself can be defined as an organized body of people occupying a defined political or geographical territory. For a state to exist, that state must be able to be on a geographical land where people exist. We can say, oh, these are the people that constitute the state. And not only that, the geographical territory, like Nigeria, we have our own geographical territory. Benin Republic have their own geographical territory. Had it been there is no law, maybe Nigeria would have invaded Benin Republic, and Benin Republic would have been part and parcel of Nigeria because of the strength, military strength, because of the power, economic power that we have, and because of the stability and the strong will of the state called Nigeria. But because of the existence of law that exists, especially in the international community, even if a state is as small as a local government, those particular states have what we call sovereignty, and it is not allowed for another state to invade them. It is not allowed for another state to invade them. And that was part of the reason why Biden, the former president of US, tried as much as possible to mobilize a member of the European Union and against Russia for invading Ukraine. That they are the one that caused it because they are sending a state, and Russia believe that the security of their state is being threatened. And that was the reason why President Putin equally launched what they call special military operation against Ukraine. Unfortunately, what caused this crisis was Ukraine want to join NATO. And at the long run, Trump is saying they cannot even join NATO, that it is not allowed because they don't want crisis. They don't want to engage in a war of attrition. The war of attrition with a superpower, a country that have the highest number of nuclear weapons in the world. These are the things that Trump quickly came in, issued executive order, and trying to tell Zelensky that you cannot continue like this. You can see how powerful a state will be. That's only a single state among international community and now imposing his own will on other countries. And those countries did not have any other choice because they have a strong military and they have good leadership. That is the purpose. So those particular states must have a sovereignty. And the sovereignty that the state enjoy, it is the sovereignty that the individual within that state submitted to the state to rule over them. That's what the state is enjoying. And that state must be independent, and not only be independent, they must have sense of nationalism. They must have sense of nationalism. Government is the basic feature of the state. Government is the basic feature of the state. A state may not be able to exist without having government. Even though government change often and often, but government must be in existence for a state to function. Government must be in existence for a state to function. Government is equally a machinery set up by the state to organize and realize its objective and goal. So government are there. The purpose of government is to maintain peace and tranquility among its people. And if government is not performing that function anymore, then it shows that the state is not in existence. A state without a government would be characterized by anarchy. A state without government, then such a state will witness what we call pandemonium, despotism, and anarchical systems of administration. A state without government cannot function, and the people, everybody will take law into their hand. And when they take law into their hand, it'll be very difficult for them to perform. Let's quickly look at the characteristics of a state. For a state to exist, that state must have what we call a defined territory. Then we must say, our state go along Badagry, cut across, we are on the eastern part, then we have a partition with Republic of Benin. While from the western part, we have the partition with the Republic of Benin. Then from the eastern part, we have the partitions with the Cameroon, Republic of Cameroon. From the northern territory, we equally have the partitions with either Niger Republic and others. So these are the defined territory that we're talking about. You must be able to know your defined territory. And when you understand your defined territory, a state will continue to exist. Then a state must have government. Government must be able to function within the state. Without the functionalities of government, a state may not be able to exist. Then we have permanency. A state must be permanent. A state is not changing, except sometimes there must be changes in the territory of the state, especially when there are balkanization of the state. The balkanization I'm talking about is like the indigenous peoples of Biafra, IPOB, when they were trying to solicit for an independent state, they want to rule themselves. They don't want to be under Nigerian government anymore. If they succeeded in doing that, it shows that Nigerians have been balkanized. Then we are now forming different multiple states among states. Then you can equally see that in 1998, and there was equally balkanization of Russia, and that Soviet Union. There was a balkanization of Soviet Union when Soviet Union collapsed, and there was a creation of about 12 states out of Soviet Union. That's why we have countries like Ukraine, we have Georgia, Latvia, so many states were created, Kazakhstan and other countries. So these are the states that were being created under Russia. There are about 12 states, because Russia had the biggest continent in the world, and Soviet Union, they have in landmass, they are the biggest, and likewise in terms of continentalities, they are equally the biggest. Then a state must be recognized. That's why they saw the Republic of Nigeria, Republic of Benin. So it must be recognized under international law. So if a state is not recognized under international law, then that state cannot be fully regarded as a state. Then a state must have population. There must be a number of people residing within a state, be it man or a woman. So a state must have population. I'm not talking about component state. I'm talking about state as a whole. A state must have population. Number of people must reside within a state. And when number of people reside within a state, then we can call such a state and a real state. Then a state must have sovereignty. That is a power of sovereign, a sovereign nation, power of independence. And when we surrender our own sovereignty to the state will continue to act and protect us because we have already surrendered our sovereignty. After surrendering that sovereignty, a state must equally reciprocate. How do they reciprocate? They will reciprocate in a manner that we are going to maintain peace and tranquility within the state. Oh, they give us fundamental human rights, and that particular state equally asks us that we must continue. We must continue to perform our civic duties. We must continue to perform our civic duties, and when we perform our civic duties, then state will continue to function. Then one of the civic duty that is expected of individual to be committed to the state is payment of taxes. We must be able to pay tax, and when we pay tax, then the government of the state will continue to function. Then let's now look at the characteristics of government. One of the characteristics of a good government is periodic changes. Every good government must change depending on the mood or mode of governance. Mode of governance. If the mode of governance said 6 years of a term, if it said 5 years of a term, if it said 4 years of a term, that is it. But a government must be subjected to periodic changes. Now, behavior regulation. Government are the one in charge in regulating individual behaviors. Anybody, you can't take law into your hand. You must act according to the law of the land. And that was the job of government in a state. Then a state must have a workforce. They must have individuals, a number of workforce that can work within the state and allow economic prosperity of such society. Then we have government with protection. The job of every government within the state is to protect individual, you understand, is to protect individual liberty, and enjoin also maintain law and order. That is the job of the state. They must protect us from external aggression. They must protect us from invading our country. They must protect us from those who want to dominate us, even though government themselves equally dominate their citizens. Welfare services. It is a job and responsibility of the government to provide welfare services to the people within the state. That if you don't provide welfare service, how will your people in the state enjoy governance? They may not be able to enjoy governance except they provide welfareism to that people, provide goods and services, and maintain laws and order, make the state to be well protected and well given, having that power to provide economic power to the people. You can enjoy your people to continue to function by making them not to live in pauperism, not to live in abject poverty. When you provide welfareism, the people of the state will continue to be happy and the government of the state will continue to function. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's lectures, and I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. You can ask questions if you have any question, but you can just signify by raising up your hand. When you raise up your hand, I will unmute you. You ask your question, then I will provide explanation to the question being asked. So I think I have Ajefu Ako. Ajefu Ako. Ajefu Ako.
Hello, sir.
And unmute yourself. Hello, I can hear you. We can't hear Ajefu. I can't. Okay, fine. Is that the case?
Yes. A while ago, you were completely out. Like we couldn't hear you. You were at the cost of study. So the constitutions and the public administration, the explanation, we didn't get it. So we only got to international relations and then the political economy. That's where we get to. So to my understanding, honestly,
maybe when this thing sign us out, you say where, which area?
Yes, you stop at the final international organization. That was up. Then coming to the course of study.
Course of study, Abi?
Yes, course of study. The whole explanation of the constitution, public administration, I did not get anything, sir.
Okay, what we mean by course of study, the constitution under course of study, by studying government in higher institution, in our secondary school, and likewise political science in our tertiary institution, such as university, college of education, etc., etc. Is for us to understand what the constitution is all about. Because in our course of study, you are going to understand what the constitution is talking about. People within the political system must be able to know what the constitution is all about. What is the constitution? A constitution is a document, a special document that comprises of the belief, values, and traditions, custom and convention of the people of the society. That was well reflected in the Constitution. And the Constitution was just to regulate individuals' behavior to the extent that even if the state infringe on your personal right, then you can go ahead and challenge the power of the government within the state. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
you can take them to court, and when you get to court, because if you don't study these constitutions, you may not be able to know that there's a constitutions that regulate individual behavior, that if the government infringe on your personal right, you can take them to court. It's a very good example. It's a very good example. And we talk about public administration, in which you are even studying presently. In higher institution, you study public administration, and the purpose of studying public administration is for us to have a deeper knowledge of day-to-day activities of the government. Who are the people that do day-to-day activities of the government. Most in this part of the world, we call them government worker, civil servants, and those civil servants were under, or sometimes we call them public servants. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
And you study activities of the government on daily basis. If you don't study it, like if you study public administration and you become a graduate of public administration, you can work under government to provide help in regulating individual day-to-day activities of government. So that is the purpose why we are studying public administration. And I said that public administration happened to be just ordinary a harm in political science. That in political science, we have about 5 arms in political science. We have international relations, we have comparative politics, we have public administration, we have political theory, and sometimes local government administration. These are the things that we have in political science. And now you are just studying one aspect of the arms of government, the arms that we have in political science, which is public administration. So the responsibility of public administrator is to provide day-to-day administration of governance. For government to be able to perform better, then it needs the public administrator to probably do their job.
All right,
I hope you are
Thank
clear
you
now.
so much. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, let's quickly listen to Isaac. Isaac, you can unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, sir. Please,
Good afternoon.
when you are talking about the characteristics of government, you
Okay.
mentioned workforce.
Yes.
Please, I want you to explain the meaning of workforce, please.
Yes, I made mention of workforce. Workforce are more or less like a civil servant that are working under the government. Without the function of civil servants, now, government may not be able to function. So government needs a good workforce, people that fall within the category of certain age limits that can work under the government and probably provide day-to-day activities for government to function. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're welcome. So we have Matthew. Matthew, you can unmute yourself, please.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for the class. But I wanted to ask, just for the sake of us that might want to probably check some topics, especially some topics that are giving us problems, basically, for comprehension's sake. I would want to ask, sir, if you can please provide us maybe a course outline, like a scheme of work of what will be
Okay. Let me quickly answer that. It's a pity that they've not really enabled you on LMS, learning management system, because all your notes, all your modules, that's a course materials, they are on that platform. They are on that platform. And we will see. I will see what I can do. You will have access. I wrote the module. I wrote the module that the course materials with just in a very simplistic manner that students, our own children at the secondary school level can even read it and understand. But I will see what we can do, because I know any moment from now, they will enable all of you on learning management system, LMS, then you will have access to all your course materials that will guide you. Am I clear? Okay, let's quickly listen to Chioma. Chioma, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Thank you very much for the lecture.
You are
Sir,
welcome.
I want to ask you, we're talking about balkanization under
Yes.
Soviet Union withdrawing themselves from Russia. So
Yes.
now I'm asking, why is Biafra, not because I'm an Igbo, but because I want to learn, why is Biafra deprived of such, will I say, opportunity Why are they deprived from such? Why are they deprived from such?
Okay. Thank you very much, Yoma, for your question. Your question is very sensitive questions. And unfortunately, this question will be answered in a very historic manner. Very historic manner. Ordinarily, I could remember very well that Adib Bin's secession clause was part and parcel of our constitution. And what does the secession clause says? That if any part of the country feel aggrieved, and they don't want to continue the union, that they are free to do so. And that's why up to today, I can tell you that Ethiopia has the best constitution in Africa. Ethiopia has the best constitution in Africa. When they were gaining independence, Ethiopia enshrined secession clause into their constitution that if any part of the country feel aggrieved, that they can secede. That means if any part of the country feel aggrieved about the union, they can leave the union. It got to a stage where Eritrea was part of a region in Ethiopia. Eritrea was a region in Ethiopia. Eritrea said they don't want to be part and parcel of Ethiopia again. But because there was a secession clause in their constitution, so the government of Ethiopia allowed Eritrea to go. That's balkanization. Allow Eritrea to go, and today, Eritrea is a sovereign country, independent country. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, secession clause was not part of our constitution. So those who are the helms of affairs believe that balkanization of Nigeria as a country is not a matter of discussion, that we must remain together by all means, and which directly or indirectly are equally questioned. Any part of the country that want to secede, let them go. But in Ethiopia now, Tigray region, that has most of the mineral resources in Ethiopia, equally advocating that they want to leave the union, while Ethiopia government are kicking against it, using military to suppress them because they don't want them to go. You can see the changes of government. Despite that, the fact that decision clause was part and parcel of their constitution. And that was the main reason. It was part of, injustice here and there that led to the civil war in Nigeria, in which they declared Biafra as a sovereign nation. And after 3 years of a deadly war, then Biafra collapsed, and then we return back to the 60s. I think before balkanization of the country will occur, all the three ethnic strong regions in Nigeria must be able to agree among themselves that they want to balkanize this country so that the Igbos can go. And it's not only Igbos that will go, because I know that if people go, the people of South will equally want to have their own state, while the Yoruba equally will want to have their own state, and while Hausas will equally want to have their own state. That is it. But there is a good reason in being strong. We can remain. I don't believe in balkanization of the country. My own concern about the balkanization of the country is we can live together. We can live together. But we must be able to identify why we want to live together, reason why we must live together, and on what terms are we going to continue to live together. And that's why I believe so much in resource control. Those who have oil, let them go with their oil, let them pay royalty, let them exploit their oil, let them extract it, let them pay royalty to the post of the government. And whatever thing you have in a very high comparative advantage, then you can produce it. It is the same cocoa money that Obafemi Awolowo used to build the first skyscraper in Africa. That's Cocoa House in Ibadan, a 21-story building. It is the same money from cocoa that Obafemi Awolowo used to build Cocoa Dome. it is the same money you generate from cocoa that you use to build first national stadium, first stadium in the whole of Africa. And the same money that he got, that he used to build first television station in Africa. That's Nigerian, Western Nigerian
Television.
television stations. Yes, and let me surprise you. Do you know that Nigeria has television before France? 10 years that Western Nigeria has television, France as a country did not have television station. Then you ask what happened to us as a nation. Thank you, Choma.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well said,
I think
sir.
let me tolerate one more question. Ifeanyi, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, concerning the Russia and Ukraine sovereignty, I'm finding it difficult because in what I read, it was US that signed a treaty not to expand NATO to eastern flank of the Russian border.
Yes. Yes.
So I think I don't know who is the aggressor. Is it Russia?
Sorry to cut you off, Ifeanyi. There was what we call Minsk agreement.
Yes, sir.
Of 2014, where US and Germany, on behalf of NATO, signed that they are not going to expand towards eastern
Yes,
parts of Russia.
Yes, sir.
And they signed it. When they signed that agreement, but they are the same people that signed it, are the one that violated it. So NATO started moving towards Russian border. They allow Latvia to join NATO, Georgia, all these small countries, they will just join NATO. Yes. And you won't expect, for security purpose, you won't expect Russia to fold their arms. They are the most nuclear power country in the world. So you won't expect them to, but because, the people of Ukraine, there are, how do I call it? Russian speaking. Almost all citizens of Ukraine speak Russian. Almost all.
Yes,
all citizens.
They are also Soviet Union.
Yeah, they are also Soviet Union. They speak Russian. So it was this Western nation that balkanized the state and divided them into different unions. And when they realized that Ukraine was constituting security nuisance to their territory, they don't have any other choice than to go into war with Ukraine. And they don't even use full force. That's why they call it military operation. They've not gone into war. If Russia had gone into war, Ukraine may not be able to survive a month.
Yes, sir.
They may not be able to survive a month. So that's what happened.
The Western are the aggressors, not Russia.
They are the aggressors. They are the aggressors.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They are the aggressor. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just stop it because of further lecture. I'm supposed to teach 200 level students too. Let me first of all unmute all. Let me unmute all of you. When I unmute you, I don't want noise. I know there's going to be noise. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really enjoyed the lectures, and our subsequent lectures.
Yes, we do.
Our subsequent lectures is going to be better than this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I wish you best of luck and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir. You too, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It's sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
I wanted to ask a question, but I did not call my name.
I really want to ask a question, but
Josephine, Abi, Joseph,
Patience.
you want to ask question?
I wanted to ask a question, yes, concerning Russia. You said,
okay, no.
yes, you said that Russia is the largest
Suspend your
continent.
questions in next class.
Oh, okay, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I know, right?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. God bless
thank
you,
you, sir.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
sir. I wanted to ask
I
two very
really
important
enjoy your
questions.
section.
It's okay, sir. Please, you have a nice day.
Sir, I want you to just take note of my. I want you to take note of my name
No problem.
ahead of next question.
Sir, if you stay here, they will not allow you to leave.
I
Ahead
don't
of next,
Joseph wanted to ask question.
Thank you, sir.
ahead
Who
of
else want
next
to ask
lecture.
question?
Ahead of next lecture, yes, sir. I'm already putting my name down as at least for consideration for next
Thank
lecture.
you, sir. You are free to leave.
So that's Ochuba.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Adams,
No problem.
ambassador.
Likewise, me too, sir. I would like to ask a question. I would like to ask a question about the sovereignty of the state.
Next week.
That will be next lectures.
Yes, sir. Please take note of my name.
That will be next lecture, please.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We are grateful.
Thank you, sir.